If you like this video, please click like, share it, subscribe, buttons down there, and if you want to coach a meeting, Nottingham Online, all the information is in the bio. How you doing? All right? So after the last couple of weeks of controversy and being trolled to pieces on a sensitive flower, I'm back with some snooker tips really, and this is about aiming and about the things that you're not being told about aiming and why people are making big mistakes and just driving themselves mad, looking at daft videos, apart from mine. Obviously mine are all great. So yeah, this is what they're not telling you. Right, so here we go. We're going to use this shot as an example just to make the point, but again, if you think about all shots, they're very similar. They're right or left cuts. On your left cuts, you'll put a trace of right on, and your right cuts, you'll put a trace of left on most of the time. And you are basically sending it to a point on the object ball to send it in a direction. So we're going to use this here, so this blue in there. So again, it's a left cut, so I'm going to put a trace of right on it. But we're not talking about the trace of side here, we're talking about the line of the shot. Which part of the object ball you aim at to send it in that direction, right? And you can get this same shot in all different parts of the table because it's a degree of angle, isn't it? Now I want to hear about all these like methods and things you can use, like ghost ball methods, and then they talk about spin-induced throw and how it's going to kick it off a different angle. Look, pros don't do that. We don't do that, right? We basically address the cue ball at a consistent spot and then aim to a point of the object ball. And if it goes in, we keep it in there. If we keep hitting it thick, and most of the time, even you've got a shot that you miss a lot, if you've got the right trace on and you're hitting it decent, which most people do, you will see a pattern on where you're missing. If it's 70% thick, one of the last things amateurs will do is think, well, I'm going to hit it thinner. Now, I don't know why people are so stubborn about that, because that's quite a simplistic fix. I think it's because, well, the main reason is, what people don't know is that the same shot, so I've got to aim to a part of the white ball to send it in a direction. So I look usually at the point where I want the white to contact with it. So it's the back of the ball, right? That's where I look at. But remember, my cue isn't pointing to that point of the object ball because I'm putting a trace of right on it. So my cue is sort of going that line because I'm in a sphere. So again, it's a rabbit hole you don't really want to go down. I'm always aiming for that, looking at that spot, but again, my cue's not pointing at it. So people thinking about back of the cue and all that, you don't want to worry about that. Address a consistent, correct spot of the cue ball, look at a part of the object ball. If you keep hitting it thick, hit it thinner till it goes in. But again, the big thing people don't realise is that to play this shot, to play the exact same shot, so to hit the same part of the cue ball and to hit the same part of the object ball, to play that perfectly, to pot that, different people are going to have to aim to different spots on the object ball, right? As for the line, right? So some people are going to see it differently, which is why a lot of these methods don't work. And I don't know, since I've been coaching, people don't seem to be aware of this, and it's quite funny, really. So I'm just going to put this on here. So for me, I would put a trace of right on. That's about right for me, and that's how it would look to me, like that, about right to pot that. My smidge of right look, and then usually that's what that'd look like, right? But again, that's using a camera, so you see it exactly how, that's the picture you're seeing. People are going to have to aim to different spots, and again, I talk about this a lot on my sessions. I'm like a dog with a bone with it, because people are misaiming so much, like unbelievable amount. And they think, even if you're making 100 break players, you think you're a good aimer? Definitely not. You could definitely improve on that. Pros are obsessed with it because they know that's what you need to be good at. So if you're not a good aimer, they know you can cue like Neil Robertson, you'll not be a very good player. And again, for some reason within the coaching world and with this amateur snooker, it's all about technique, which again, you've got to get someone to repeat, but most of the time you're just aiming badly. So again, with this, an easy way of trying to fix it is, again, if you're good with a cue ball, you need to know where to hit on the cue ball. But again, this is about the line. If you are aiming to a point, right, and you think that's the correct part, and you keep missing it thick, so that means I'm hitting left of the target on the object ball. So an easy fix is just have a little play around going, well, I keep it, I'm aiming for there. So just aim a little bit right of that point that you're aiming at on the object ball and see what happens. More than likely, you'll start hitting it thinner. And what you'll do, you'll let the pocket help you pick the line, because eventually you'll hit them thin enough to go in. And then you'll think, well, I'm aiming too thin here, but you're not aiming too thin. That's the actual line, working with what you see. Because again, that's going to be different for different people. And then what you do through repetition, you just accept that that's where I need to aim to pot that in that direction. Sounds a bit mad, but that's how you do it. That's what pros are doing, I promise you. And different shots around different tables, you're going to have to aim for what looks like the wrong spots, but they're not actually the wrong spots, they're actually the correct spots. It's a little bit of a rant, but I know it's true. So have a play around with it. Make a little mental note of where you're missing certain shots. It's always shots that you don't like so much. And then just hit thicker or thinner. Really simple. Like this. So this, I see this pretty well, this shot, I think. But again, this is repetition. I put my tracer right on, and then I aim to that back of the ball. Little bit of right look, perf. So yeah, please have a play around with it. Go to the aiming part first if you're struggling with a shot, rather than you hit. And you might find that all of a sudden, they start going in. Try it. So there you go. You've got to accept that some shots aren't going to look right to you, and you're going to feel like you're aiming to miss, but ultimately you're not aiming to miss. That is the angle. So don't see it as that you're aiming to miss. See that you're always aiming for the middle of the pocket, but you've got to aim to a different spot than you first thought to send it there. Again, it's not always the fix, but generally that is a good way of starting, because instead of dismantling your cue action. So just try it, see how you go, and more than likely you'll see positive results. Comment below, see you soon.